The Weekly Podioplex will begin after this short podcasting promotional.
So Ghost infected Frank. He passed it on to the other guys, and I got it from his corpse? Right.
Hello, Echo. How are you feeling?
Did I fall asleep?
For a little while.
Previously on Heroes.
You had to go and be the detective, didn't you, Matt?
I'm not an aggressive person, but...
Oh, man, there's just way too much on all these channels.
But only in-game.
Everybody lives, Rose. Just this once. In your dreams, Nutloaf.
Bite my shiny metal hat.
Sometimes I get visions.
Walter, what are you doing? Watch and learn, son.
I wish there was some way to find out what's really worth watching.
There is.
What? Who? What was that?
Tuning into Sci-Fi TV is the viewer's guide to genre television.
Where is that coming from?
With its spoiler-free quick reviews and water cooler and the spoiler-filled in-depth back porch discussions, Tuning into Sci-Fi TV is the only resource fans need to know what's on, what's good, and what's coming soon in science fiction and fantasy television.
How did you get into my house?
Join Kevin, Wendy, and Brand each week for the latest in genre television.
I'm calling the police.
You can find Tuning into Sci-Fi TV at tuningintoscifitv.com.
No, seriously. How did you get into my house?
This is Michael Falkner, and it's showtime at the January 10th, 2012 edition of the Weekly Podioplex, brought to you by the Chronic Rift. Starting out with a box office report, the weekend's rundown kicks off with number 10 and The Darkest Hour, down 1 from 9th. In 9th place is Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, up 8 places from 17th. At number 8 is The Adventures of Tintin, down 1 from 7th. In 7th place is We Bought a Zoo, down 1 from 6th. And at 6th place, we have Warhorse, down 1 from last week's 5th. In 5th place is Alvin and the Chipmunks, Shipwrecked, moving down 2 from 3rd with a weekend box office take of $9.5 million and a new total of $111.6 million. Holding steady in 4th place is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, adding another $11.4 million to bring the remake to $76.9 million overall. In 3rd place is last week's runner-up, Sherlock Holmes, A Game of Shadows, cashing in another $13.7 million for a total of $157 million. In 2nd, we find Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, with another $20 million for a new 4-week total of $170 million. Beating out the agents of IMF with the spooky found footage film The Devil Inside, debuting at $34 million. Made for about $1 million, the weekend take makes the film the 3rd highest January opening ever, behind Cloverfield at $40.1 million, and the Star Wars A New Hope Special Edition re-release at $35.9 million. It also now stands as the 5th best debut ever for a supernatural horror movie, falling in behind the previous 2 Paranormal Activity movies, The Grudge and The Ring 2. Closing out the box office report, let's take a look at what was winning in the box office in years gone by. 5 years ago, in 2007, Stomp the Yard was the number 1 in the nation at $21.8 million. 10 years ago, in 2002, Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring continued its run with $16.2 million. 20 years ago, 1992 saw The Hand That Rocks the Cradle at $7.7 million. 30 years ago, in 1982, was Absence of Malice at $3.2 million, reaching the number 1 spot after 4 weeks in release. 40 years ago, in 1972, audiences still loved Dirty Harry with $3.3 million. January 13th has quite a few options to beat back the devil inside, beginning with Contraband, an action crime drama starring Mark Wahlberg, Giovanni Brivisi, and Kate Beckinsale.
You were the best of the best, but the proudest day of my life was when you turned legit. You started a family, and you got out of the life.
What's going on?
Chris, come home. It's my brother.
What happened, Andy?
I was running something, and I dumped the package.
When I stopped doing runs, you promised me you were going to stay out of this.
They're going to kill me.
They're not going to kill you.
I was hoping you understand it's family. Maybe we could work something out.
I'll give you 2 weeks. If not, I'm gonna come after the both of you. I'll come asking your wife for it, your kid.
You think you're the only guy with a gun? Have you ever mentioned my wife and my kids again? Oh, done.
You know what's gonna happen if you don't pay? You know the rules, right?
I gotta try to fix this. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. So what are we running?
Currency? 15 million on 4 stacks. It's like the size of a Mini Cooper. Where are you gonna hide it?
Where is the faith? Oh, I lost my stripes now. I gotta start from scratch.
Have you ever been convicted of espionage, sedition, treason?
Together?
They're running something on my ship. Could be big.
Takes money to make money.
Está bueno.
No, it's no bueno.
Say goodbye to your wife.
I'm coming. I'm coming for you.
We're going to war. Here we go. Open the container.
Where's my wife?
Tell him not to dump it in the water.
You will never find that money.
Pull the trigger.
To protect his brother-in-law from a drug lord, a former smuggler heads to Panama to score millions of dollars in counterfeit bills. Contraband is rated R. Next up, we have Joyful Noise, a musical comedy starring Queen Latifah, Dolly Parton, and Keke Palmer.
The church council has already discussed it.
I think I know where this is going.
We've decided to offer the position to Vi Rose Hill.
Thank you, Pastor.
They live in the same small town.
People do care, and if you don't like that, maybe you should move to New York.
I did not ask to be made choir director. The council chose me over you.
Mm-hmm.
They share the same big dreams.
Today, we are going to go out there, and we are going to win this thing. Stop. Next year.
It's not going to be next year. It's too expensive, and we always lose.
But the only way to win the competition
We gotta shake them up.
Get your Beyonce out of my face.
is for someone to change their tune.
Are you kidding me? Make some noise up in this.
Y'all remember my grandson, Randy? He's a good singer, Mama.
You just want to be near my little girl.
You help me sing my song.
I'm starting with the man in the
He completely changed the way the choir sings. Who knows what he'll do next?
I love those old songs, but Randy's right.
We are not going out like this. Not you, not me, and not this choir.
Well, I am who I am.
Well, maybe you were 5 procedures ago. And how much did she spend on all that?
Who cares if I had a few little nips and tucks? God didn't make plastic surgeons so they could starve.
That was amazing.
Singing is the only time I feel important.
You know we're going to LA, right? Someone could hear you who might actually matter.
Baby, nobody ends up with the boy they like when they were 16.
This isn't about that. This is about me.
Raise your voice and dream big.
It's like I've waited my whole life.
You are infallible, untouchable, unlovable. Ow! Well, you're breaking my hair.
Put that online. We just go to Los Angeles and we do our best.
Don't look at my butt. I'm a good girl. Stop.
I'm very, very proud to be your mother. I love you.
Joyful Noise.
Quit it with those nails, Edward Scissorhands.
2 choir members have differing opinions on how to win the national choir competition. Joyful Noise is rated PG-13. Next, we look at some history with The Iron Lady, a biographical drama starring Meryl Streep, Jim Broadbent, and Richard E. Grant.
One simply has to maximize your appeal, bring out all your qualities, and make you look and sound like the leader that you could be.
You've got it in you to go the whole distance.
Absolutely.
That hat has got to go. And the pearls.
but the main thing is your voice. It's too high and it has no authority.
I may be persuaded to surrender the hat. The pearls, however, are absolutely non-negotiable. That's the tone that we want to strike.
The Iron Lady is a look at the life of Margaret Thatcher, the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, with a focus on the price she paid for power. The Iron Lady is rated PG-13. The next film on our slate is a re-release, Beauty and the Beast, the animated film from 1991, now in theaters in 3D, starring Paige O'Hara, Robbie Benson, and Richard White.
Hello? Is anyone here? Hello?
Tale as old as time.
In theaters everywhere, Disney invites you to experience the story
Beauty and the Beast.
that's even more magical in 3D.
What is dinner without a little music?
Music?
This January,
Be our guest.
in a special limited engagement, the Disney Classic returns to the big screen and becomes a 3D event.
This is her lucky day.
It's wonderful.
Disney's Beauty and the Beast 3D.
You guys gotta see this.
And see the all-new Disney short, Tangled Ever After, only in theaters with Beauty and the Beast.
Belle, whose father is imprisoned by the Beast, offers herself instead and discovers her captor to be an enchanted prince. Beauty and the Beast is rated G. And last on the wide-release slate is Lucy's, a comedic drama starring Peter Facinelli, Jamie Alexander, and Michael Madsen.
Hello? Yes, hello. Hello? Yes, it's for you. You just missed them.
Take some time to love somebody. Free your mind and clear your heart.
This kid, he's hysterical. You know what he did yesterday? He took himself a cab up to the Bronx. Instead of paying, he whips out your badge and he says police business.
Stop! In the name of the law!
You know who told me that story? The mayor. I'm gonna get my badge back.
Thank you so much for finding my wallet and giving it back to me.
I just got a red flag on that credit card that was stolen this morning on the subway.
I just have to use the little boy's room. Excuse me, sir.
Are you having a problem with the credit card?
Innocent.
Yeah, no, it's been a while.
Yeah, 3 months.
Maybe we can get together for lunch.
I'm pregnant.
Congratulations. How far along?
3 months.
You're gonna be up to your neck in dirty diapers.
I'm a pickpocket.
My kid's father steals out of old ladies' handbags.
What did I tell you on the phone?
You said no cell phone?
What is this? Cell phone.
Bring me gold, diamonds.
God, I hate you.
I'm the same guy you met at the bar, except I have a different job than you thought. I need you to trust me right now. Run.
I don't care what they say. I can't go out.
Come on. You've got to be kidding me.
Hey, listen, you know where I can find Lucy?
Lucy! You know this guy!
Now, Lucy, it's me!
Stay away from him!
Hey, breathe.
I'm not going into labor, you moron. I'm only 3 months pregnant.
Ma. How do you know it's mine?
I want a name.
Don't bring any more cell phones! Stop here!
You like diamonds? I'm gonna get you some diamonds. It's over $500,000 in diamonds. My whole world is in that case.
You're a good boy, Bobby.
I never took from anybody who looked like they had less than me.
Hey, you got a Lucy?
What?
Lucy.
A young pickpocket in the New York subways, living a fast, free lifestyle, is confronted by a woman with whom he had a one-night affair. Lucy's opens on January 11th and is rated PG-13. In limited release, we have The Divide, a sci-fi thriller starring Lauren German, Jennifer Blanc, and Michael Bain. Survivors of a nuclear attack are grouped together for days in the basement of their apartment building, where fear and dwindling supplies wear away at their dynamic. The Divide is not rated. And the other limited release is Albatross, a drama starring Felicity Jones, Jessica Brown Findlay, and Sebastian Koch. Beth, a bookish teenager, befriends Emilia, an aspiring novelist who has just arrived in town. Emilia soon begins an affair with Beth's father that threatens to have devastating consequences. Albatross is not rated. The week of January 10th is a big week for home entertainment releases, kicking off with Moneyball, a sports drama starring Brad Pitt, Robin Wright, and Jonah Hill. Moneyball is the story of Oakland A's general manager Billy Beane's successful attempt to put together a baseball club on a budget by employing computer-generated analysis to draft his players. Moneyball is rated PG-13. Next on our list is Killer Elite, an action thriller starring Jason Statham, Clive Owen, and Robert De Niro. When his mentor is taken captive, a retired member of Britain's elite special air service is forced into action. His mission? Kill 3 assassins dispatched by their cunning leader. Killer Elite is rated R. Next up, we have to ask, what's your number? A romantic comedy starring Anna Faris, Chris Evans, and Ari Graynor. A woman looks back at the past 20 men she's had relationships with in her life and wonders if one of them might be her one true love. What's Your Number is rated R. Next, There Be Dragons, a war drama starring Charlie Cox, Wes Bentley, and Doug Ray Scott. Arising out of the horror of the Spanish Civil War, a candidate for canonization is investigated by a journalist who discovers his own estranged father had a deep, dark, and devastating connection to the saint's life. There Be Dragons is rated PG-13. Next on the list, we jump right into B-movie territory with The Scorpion King 3, Battle for Redemption, an action-adventure film starring Victor Webster, Billy Zane, and Boston Christopher. Since his rise to power, Matthias' kingdom has fallen. Now an assassin for hire, he must defend a kingdom from an evil tyrant and his ghost warriors for the chance to regain the power and glory he once knew. The Scorpion King 3, Battle for Redemption, is rated PG-13. Next, we take a look at Sinners and Saints, a crime thriller starring Johnny Strong, Kevin Phillips, and Costas Mandylor. In the gritty New Orleans underbelly, beleaguered detective Sean Riley is trying to cope with the death of his young son and failed marriage. Facing a probable suspension from the department, Riley is teamed with a young homicide detective, Will Gans, to help solve a series of brutal murders that have plunged the city into a major gang war. The two quickly realize there's something much bigger and far more sinister going on than either could have imagined. Sinners and Saints is rated R. Next is 1911, an action drama starring Jackie Chan, Bing Bing Lee, and Winston Chow. 1911 is a historical drama based on the founding of the Republic of China, when nationalist forces led by Sun Yat-sen overthrew the Qing dynasty. 1911 is rated R. And last we move to Higher Ground, a drama starring Vera Farmiga, Joshua Leonard, and Dagmara Dominczyk. Higher Ground is a chronicle of one woman's lifelong struggle with her faith. Higher Ground is rated R. Moving right along to TV on DVD, we kick off with Boardwalk Empire, the complete first season, starring Steve Buscemi, Michael Pitt, and William Hill. From Terrence Winter, writer on The Sopranos, and Oscar-winning director Martin Scorsese, Boardwalk Empire is set in Atlantic City in 1920 at the dawn of Prohibition. The series chronicles the life and times of Enoch Nucky Thompson, the city treasurer whose double role as politician and bootlegger makes him the city's undisputed czar at a time when illegal alcohol has opened up highly lucrative opportunities for rum runners and distributors. In a city defined by notorious backroom politics and vicious power struggles, Nucky must contend with ambitious underlings, relentless feds, rival gangsters, including Arnold Rothstein, Lucky Luciano, and Al Capone, and his own appetite for women, profits, and power. Moving from the 1920s to the late 1990s, we have Columbo, the mystery movie collection from 1994 to 2003, starring Peter Falk. Four-time Primetime Emmy winner Peter Falk returns as Lieutenant Columbo of the Los Angeles Police Department in 7 mystery-packed TV movies that aired between 1994 and 2003, including Falk's last ever appearance as TV's greatest detective. Follow the always rumpled, eternally bumbling, and constantly underestimated investigative genius as he takes on some of the most cunning criminals in his career with trademark wit, charm, persistence, and that ever-present cigar. Featuring an all-star roster including Rue McClanahan, George Wendt, William Shatner, Tyne Daly, and more, this 3-disc set will keep every devoted mystery fan entertained over and over again. Next up is Hawaii Five-0, the 12th and final season, starring Jack Lord, Herman Wiedermeyer, and Richard Denning. This set is the final season chronicling the investigations of Hawaii Five-0, an elite branch of the Hawaii State Police answerable only to the governor and headed by stalwart Steve McGarrett. Next we have Dennis the Menace, Season 4, starring Jane North. Dennis Mitchell is back for one final season of calamity, aggravation, and hilarity. With the permanent departure of the grumpy curmudgeon, Mr. George Wilson, it's up to his brother John Wilson to step in as Dennis's creative muse. Together they team up for a whirlwind round of escapades and mishaps, including a trip to the zoo, a visit to the local hermit, a search for the neighborhood monster, and a sleepover at the Wilsons' house. Along for the ride are Dennis's folks Henry and Alice, his best buddy Tommy, and his no-nonsense adversary Margaret. Based on the weekly comic strip by Hank Ketchum, this staple of classic television ran on CBS from 1959 to 1963, and here for the first time on DVD are all 38 uncut episodes from the complete final season.
Dennis the Menace is presented by Kellogg's, the best to you each morning. K-E-double-L-O double good Kellogg's, best to you.
Next, we take a look at G.I. Joe, Series 2, Season 1, starring Chris Latta, Maurice LaMarche, and Gary Chalk. The incredible adventures of the international team of heroes known as G.I. Joe continue. Together they defend the globe against Cobra, a ruthless organization led by Serpentor and the recently rejuvenated Cobra Commander, who are both determined to conquer the world by any means necessary. In 1989, a popular second G.I. Joe animated series was created and helped revive the franchise by introducing fans to new G.I. Joe and Cobra troops alike. Now you can experience the adventures of that second series from the beginning, including the fan-favorite miniseries that started it all, Operation Dragonfire. Next we move along from snakes and troops to penguins. It's the Penguins of Madagascar, Operation Blowhole, starring John DiMaggio, Tom McGrath, and Neil Patrick Harris. Neil Patrick Harris stars as Dr. Blowhole in Operation Blowhole, the complete blowhole story from the Emmy Award-winning DreamWorks animation and Nickelodeon series, The Penguins of Madagascar. In this 3-part saga, Skipper and the Penguins face off against their sinister nemesis, Dr. Blowhole, and must put a stop to his diabolical plans for revenge, and more revenge. With 6 original musical numbers, it's a Bond spoof of Penguins proportions. Next we move right along to Cops on Bikes with Pacific Blue, the complete series, starring Mario Lopez, Rick Rossovich, and Shannon Moakler. From the producer of hit TV series 21 Jump Street, Renegade, and North Shore comes this flashy cop series about an elite bicycle cop unit of the Santa Monica Police Department. From chasing down pickpockets and purse snatchers to investigating top-secret homicides, these law enforcement officers are on patrol to keep the warm, sunny LA beaches safe, no matter the cost. Featuring a stellar, sexy cast of characters, their relationships sizzle as temptation and desire stir up conflicting personal and professional interests. For the first time on any home video format, all 101 episodes from all 5 seasons of this globally popular show, which has been described as Baywatch on Bikes, is finally available on DVD. Next we travel through time and space with Doctor Who. The first title coming out this week is Doctor Who: Invasion of the Dinosaurs, starring John Pertwee, Elizabeth Sladen, and Nicholas Courtney. The Third Doctor arrives in modern-day London under attack from prehistoric monsters that want to return the Earth to the purity of the pre-human days through time travel technology. This 2-disc set presents 5 of the serial's 6 episodes in the original color presentation, and the first episode is a recently unearthed 16mm work print in either black and white or a colorized version. Episode 1 was among those erased in the BBC's practice of wiping old tapes. Next up is Doctor Who: The Android Invasion, starring Tom Baker, Elizabeth Sladen, Ian Marter, and John Levine. The Fourth Doctor and Sarah Jane Smith find themselves in the English village of Devonsham near the Space Defence Station. But the village seems deserted, the telephones don't work, calendars are stuck on the same date, and suited figures are wandering about aimlessly. Just who are the Kralls, and what are their plans for Earth? Keeping the theme in the BBC, we have Primeval Volume 3, starring Andrew Lee Potts and Hannah Spirit. Monster hit Primeval roars back onto the screens for an extended 3rd series. Still reeling from Stephen's death, and with the depth of Helen's betrayal now revealed, Nick Cutter must fight to refocus his embattled team. Cutter's crew are joined by some new recruits in the form of Maverick Policeman Danny Quinn, Sparky Egyptologist Sarah Page, and the new leader of the ARC's security forces, Captain Becker. But as the anomalies continue to present an unrelenting series of threats, the task in hand seems almost insurmountable. It's not just the deadly creatures the team has to contend with, they also have to face a threat to the future of not just the ARC, but of mankind itself. Next we have An Idiot Abroad, starring Carl Pilkington, Ricky Gervais, and Stephen Merchant. In this hilarious series, Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant, co-creators of The Office and Extras, send their friend Carl Pilkington around the world against his will. Carl thinks he's visiting the 7 Wonders, but along the way the Little Englander must endure camel rides, jungle treks, travel customs, and local oddballs while dining on toads and testicles, and searching for a clean bathroom. How does a man who prefers vacationing via camper cope with being an idiot abroad? And last on the TV list, we take a look at Transformers: The Japanese Collection. A Shout Factory exclusive in collaboration with Hasbro, this is the rare Japanese trilogy that followed the popular Generation 1 animated series. Available for the first time in North America, this 13 DVD box set is fully loaded with over 42 hours of entertainment, including all episodes that originally aired from the 3 Japanese series: Headmasters, Super God Master Force, and Victory, each with their own original Japanese audio tracks, English subtitles, and an art gallery. In Headmasters, Optimus Prime lives again. The energy of the Matrix has been released, and peace reigns on Cybertron. But all of that is about to change with the startling arrival of the newest breed of Transformers warriors. In Super God Master Force, the Cybertrons, who we know as the Autobots, depart Earth, leaving behind only a small group to protect the planet from any future menace. But when the powerful Destrons, who we know as the Decepticons, return to an unsuspecting planet, the Cybertrons must come out of hiding to defend their human friends once again. Only this time they'll be able to do it on their own. And this series wraps up with Victory, which introduces the 4 new factions to the Transformers universe. Each group comes equipped with its own unique power and the ability to combine to form much larger, more powerful Transformers, making each and every battle even more epic. Next up, we take a look at the titles coming to Netflix streaming for the week of January 8th to January 14th. This list is fairly short, but it kicks off with Film Socialisme, a French drama from 2010 starring Jean-Marc Stelle, Agatha Couture, and Matthias Dormandy. Directed by Jean-Luc Godard, this is a symphony in 3 movements. The first movement is set on a cruise ship featuring multilingual conversations among a collection of passengers. Characters include an aging war criminal, a former United Nations official, and a Russian detective. The second movement involves a pair of children, a girl and her younger brother, summoning their parents to appear before the tribunal of their childhood, demanding serious answers on the themes of liberty, equality, and fraternity. The final movement visits the 6 legendary sites: Egypt, Palestine, Odessa, Hellas, Naples, and Barcelona. Film Socialisme is not rated. From the serious to the absurd, the next title is The Butcher, the Chef, and the Swordsman, a martial arts action comedy from 2010. A tale of revenge, honor, and greed follows a group of misfits that get involved with a kitchen cleaver made from the top 5 swords of the martial arts world in this wild and brash action comedy. The Butcher, the Chef, and the Swordsman is rated PG-13. Next up, we have Protector, a drama from 2009 starring Matthias Brandt, Jan Budar, and Marek Daniel. A Czech journalist joins a Prague radio station which broadcasts Nazi propaganda in order to protect his Jewish wife. However, as the Nazi rule over Czechoslovakia calls for more and more collaboration, his relationship with his wife spirals downward. Protector is not rated. And the last title on our list is a series. It's Rawhide, the action drama series that ran on television from 1959 to 1966, starring Clint Eastwood, Paul Brunier, and Stephen Raines. Gil Favor is a trail boss of a continuous cattle drive, and he's assisted by Rowdy Yates. The crew runs into characters and adventures along the way. Next up, we take a look at the list of Netflix titles that are expiring this week. On January 11th, we're going to lose Dean Spanley, Picture Me, and The Star Chamber. January 12th, we lose The Big Fan, A Christmas Memory, The Color of Magic, Daniel's Daughter, Final Approach, Gulliver's Travels from 1996, Hogfather, Journey to the Center of the Earth, Killer Wave, Marco Polo, The Pledge, Son of the Dragon, the sci-fi miniseries Tin Man, and Warriors of Terra. January 13th is Merciful with Terribly Happy, and January 14th sees the exit of Body Snatchers. On January 15th, Netflix loses The Babysitters, Death Trap, Frontline Death by Fire, Frontline The Spill, Independent Lens Deep Down, Masterpiece Mystery Inspector Lewis Season 3, and Macbeth from 2010 starring Patrick Stewart. And finally, on January 16th, we lose 49th Parallel, the All Dogs Go to Heaven series, Seasons 1 through 3, Cagney and Lacey, Seasons 1 through 7, the Dark Shadows Complete Revival series from 1991, Fame, Seasons 1 and 2, Henry V from 1944, Laurence Olivier's Hamlet from 1948, Oliver Twist from 1948, Spaceballs, the animated series, and 30-something, Seasons 1 and 2. Now, unlike DVDs, Netflix streaming titles are licensed for a period of time, and titles will come and go depending on the contract length. If Netflix is able to renew those contracts, those titles will return to the stream. And last but not least, as we always do, we round out with Blu-rays from the past. This week's list is extensive. We kick off with Billy Elliot, a comedic drama from 2000 starring Jamie Bell, Julie Walters, and Gene Haywood. A talented young boy becomes torn between his unexpected love of dance and the disintegration of his family. Billy Elliot is rated PG-13. Next is Never Been Kissed, a romantic comedy from 1999 starring Drew Barrymore, David Arquette, and Michael Vartan. A journalist enrolls in her old high school as part of her research for a story. Never Been Kissed is rated PG-13. Next up, we have When Harry Met Sally, a romantic comedy from 1989 starring Billy Crystal, Meg Ryan, and Carrie Fisher. Harry and Sally have known each other for years and are very good friends, but they fear sex would ruin the friendship. When Harry Met Sally is rated R. Next up, we have Fever Pitch, another romantic comedy from 2005, starring Drew Barrymore, Jimmy Fallon, and Jason Spivak. Lindsay is stuck in the middle of her relationship with Ben and his passion for the Boston Red Sox. Fever Pitch is rated PG-13. Next, we have Legally Blonde, a comedy from 2001 starring Reese Witherspoon, Luke Wilson, and Selma Blair. When a blonde sorority queen is dumped by her boyfriend, she decides to follow him to law school to get him back, and once there, learns she has more legal savvy than she ever imagined. Legally Blonde is rated PG-13. Next, we see Shallow Hal, a comedy from 2001 starring Jack Black, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Jason Alexander. A shallow man falls in love with a 300-pound woman because of her inner beauty. Shallow Hal is rated PG-13. Next up is Just Married, a, you guessed it, romantic comedy from 2003, starring Ashton Kutcher, Brittany Murphy, and Christian Kane. A young newlywed couple honeymoon in Europe where obstacles challenge their ability to sustain the marriage. Just Married is rated PG-13. Definitely not a romantic comedy. Next up is American Graffiti, a drama from 1973 starring Richard Dreyfuss, Ron Howard, and Paul LeMat. A couple of high school grads spend one final night cruising the strip with their buddies before they go off to college. American Graffiti is rated PG. Next, we have The Mandate That John Tucker Must Die, a romantic comedy from 2006 starring Jesse Metcalfe, Ashanti, and Ariel Kebbel. Three ex-girlfriends of a serial cheater set up their former lover to fall for the new girl in town so they can watch him get his heart broken. John Tucker Must Die is rated PG-13. The next title coming to Blu-ray is The Green Mile, a drama from 1999 starring Tom Hanks, Michael Clark Duncan, and David Morse. The lives of guards on death row are affected by one of their charges, a black man accused of child murder and rape, yet who has a mysterious gift. The Green Mile is rated R. The next title is Just My Luck, a romantic comedy from 2006 starring Lindsay Lohan, Chris Pine, and Samara Armstrong. Manhattanite Ashley is known to many as the luckiest woman around. After a chance encounter with a down-and-out young man, however, she realizes she swapped her fortune for his. Just My Luck is rated PG-13. For the next title, we go back in time a little bit to North by Northwest, a mystery from 1959 starring Cary Grant, Ava Marie Saint, and James Mason. A hapless New York advertising executive is mistaken for a government agent by a group of foreign spies and is pursued across the country while he looks for a way to survive. North by Northwest is not rated. Next, we take a look at A Beautiful Mind, a biographical drama from 2001 starring Russell Crowe, Ed Harris, and Jennifer Connelly. After a brilliant but asocial mathematician accepts secret work in cryptography, his life takes a turn to the nightmarish. A Beautiful Mind is rated PG-13. Next on the list is Babe, a family film from 1995 starring James Cromwell, Magda Subansky, and Christine Cavanaugh. Babe, a pig raised by sheepdogs, learns to herd sheep with a little help from Farmer Hoggett. Babe is rated G. Next up, quite possibly the polar opposite of an adorable talking pig, The 40-Year-Old Virgin, a comedy film from 2005 starring Steve Carell, Catherine Keener, and Paul Rudd. Goaded by his buddies, a nerdy guy who's never done the deed only finds the pressure mounting when he meets a single mother. The home version of The 40-Year-Old Virgin is unrated. Next up is 8 Mile, a musical drama from 2002 starring Eminem, Brittany Murphy, and Kim Basinger. A young rapper struggling with every aspect of his life wants to make the most of what could be his final opportunity, but his problems give him doubts. 8 Mile is rated R. Next we have All the President's Men, a historical drama from 1976 starring Dustin Hoffman, Robert Redford, and Jack Warden. Reporters Woodward and Bernstein uncover the details of the Watergate scandal that leads to President Nixon's resignation. All the President's Men is rated R. Next on the list is Brokeback Mountain, a romantic drama from 2005 starring Jake Gyllenhaal, Heath Ledger, and Michelle Williams. Brokeback Mountain is the story of a forbidden and secretive relationship between two cowboys and their lives over the years. Brokeback Mountain is rated R. Next we sail the seas in Waterworld, a sci-fi adventure film from 1995 starring Kevin Costner, Gene Triplehorn, and Dennis Hopper. In a future where the polar ice caps have melted and most of Earth is underwater, a mutated mariner fights starvation and outlaws smokers and reluctantly helps a woman and a young girl try to find dry land. Waterworld is rated PG-13. Next we have Fast Times at Ridgemont High, a comedy from 1982 starring Sean Penn, Jennifer Jason Leigh, and Judge Reinhold. Fast Times at Ridgemont High is a story of a group of California teenagers who enjoy malls, sex, and rock and roll, and is rated R. Sticking with those 80s comedies, we have The Breakfast Club, a comedy from 1985 starring Emilio Estevez, Judd Nelson, and Molly Ringwald. 5 high school students, all different stereotypes, meet in detention where they pour their hearts out to each other and discover how they have a lot more in common than they thought. The Breakfast Club is rated R. Next up is Field of Dreams, a drama from 1989 starring Kevin Costner, James Earl Jones, and Ray Liotta. An Iowa corn farmer, hearing voices, interprets them as a command to build a baseball diamond in his fields. He does, and the Chicago Black Sox show up. Field of Dreams is rated PG. Next we have Apollo 13, a historical drama from 1995 starring Tom Hanks, Bill Paxton, and Kevin Bacon. Apollo 13 is the true story of the moonbound mission that developed severe trouble in the men that rescued it with skill and dedication. Apollo 13 is rated PG. The penultimate film on our list is Cool Hand Luke, a crime drama from 1967 starring Paul Newman, George Kennedy, and Strother Martin. A man refuses to conform to life in a rural prison. Cool Hand Luke is not rated. And last on this long list is Seabiscuit, a drama from 2003 starring Tobey Maguire, Jeff Bridges, and Elizabeth Banks. This is the true story of the undersized Depression-era horse whose victories lifted not only the spirits of the team behind it, but also those of the nation. Seabiscuit is rated PG-13. We're running low on time, so I'm going to wrap this thing to go with one item for you today in the Quick Flicks. David Arnold has been the composer for every James Bond movie since 1997's Tomorrow Never Dies. The thing is, he's got another date for the party this year. Some little event called the 2012 London Olympics or something. Therefore, director Sam Mendes has hired his frequent collaborator Thomas Newman to score the 23rd outing of the secret agent. For a sample of what's to come for this new revolutionary 007, Newman's credits include American Beauty, Road to Perdition, Jarhead, Revolutionary Road, The Shawshank Redemption, and Wall-E, and he's been nominated for the Oscar 10 times. And there we go, the end of this week's edition. If you want to discuss anything you heard on this edition, please take a moment to get in touch. You can surf on over to chronicgriff.com and leave a note on the forums. You can leave a voicemail at 888-866-9010, or you can write to John at chronicgriff.com. You can follow us on Tumblr, tweet us on Twitter, check in on the network on GetGlue, watch the classics on Funny or Die, and you can leave us a review on iTunes. The Chronic Rift is now on Stitcher Radio, and you can also find the Weekly Podioplex and the Chronic Rift on Facebook and Google+. If you decide to pick up any of this week's new releases, why not do it through our Amazon store? You get the newest entertainment at Amazon's low prices and high-quality service, and each purchase you make through the store supports the Chronic Rift. Look for the link in our show notes. The Weekly Podioplex is a collaboration of Creative Criticality and Lucky Shot Productions and is produced by John S. Drew. This is Michael Falkner. Thanks for listening. We'll see you at the theater.
Look, the storm knocked down that big wire.
Hey, let's jump our bikes over it.
Now, we better move it off the road.
No! You better leave that power line right where it is. What's wrong with you, white kid? Don't you know nothing about no electricity? Stupid crackers.
We didn't think it was dangerous.
Oh, you didn't think it was dangerous? Oh, I'm sorry. They must have some of the dumbest parents on the planet. You shouldn't even have to do these PSA. Go ahead, stick your tongue on and see if it hurts.
Now we know.
Oh, now you know. Stupid white kid.
G.I. Joe!
That's a wrap.